her Twyla, named after Schitt's Creek or something like that. No, that's a TV. That's a TV program, Dick.
There's a Unity named Twyla.
But she was so cute. Yeah, you forget what it's like to have a little young one around, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, our son Carl has adopted a little kitty from a rescue.
Uh-huh.
She's about 14 weeks old now, and she's a cuddle bunch, which he really needs.
Yeah.
So yeah, and she uses him as a human jungle gym too.
Well, he needs to keep the Neosporin handy for those scratches. Kay, if you would, please.
It's terrible.
We light this candle in recognition of and appreciation for the Christ light within each of us and the presence of the divine in our gathering.
Thank you. Well, an interesting day, huh? Sun's up. Is the weather going to be good today?
Yeah, 40s, upper 40s.
Well,
it will change this evening, though, I've heard. So,
well, that's better than driving sleet.
Yes, it is.
Let's begin with sharing of some announcements, and if I release it, will it go boom? We have an annual meeting coming up on the 24th of January after our service at 11:30 in the morning. So you may have seen that announcement also in the newsletter. 7 o'clock every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we have activities. So set an alarm on your phone, and from day to day, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you can say, well, I want to join, or no, not tonight. We have this program, Unity Buddies, that is now active. We have 2 members on the team, and we're looking for additional members on the team. Its purpose is to facilitate the connection with people who are coming into our community. So if you are interested in being a Unity Buddy, you'll also get a badge UB, which as you can see from Pam's screen name this morning, she is our Unity Buddy today. Also, check your chat box before leaving the session today to ensure that you've seen all the personal messages or relevant general messages that have been forwarded to you. And you can do that on a PC by going to the bottom row of icons and click the 3 buttons, the 3 dots to more, and it'll show you your chat function, or it may show it in the line of icons depending upon how large your video screen is. And we have an annual gratitude journal that's now available. The link was in your newsletter, and if you haven't subscribed, go to livingwaterunity.org and click the envelope icon in the upper right of the page. You'll get on the newsletter. Next week, that same link will be in the newsletter, and you can download that. Now, that's an annual gratitude journal. So it's set up to start on the 27th of December and continue on through the end of 2021. So with that, Doug, if you would, please. Thank you, Doug. And together, please, our affirmation of living water unity. Living Water Unity is a thriving spiritual community inspired to embrace and share our abundant good now. I am empowered for joyful living by expressing God in each moment. And our word for today is release. Would someone like to read that daily word to us?
If nobody's going to volunteer, I will, but I suggest somebody new do it.
I can do it.
Okay.
Yay, Laura. Blessings.
Okay. I take the best and leave the rest. My experiences of the past year have brought me gifts of insight, new perspectives, many chances to grow and stretch myself, and perhaps the opportunity to develop a skill that serves me in my work or brings greater enjoyment to my leisure time. Some experiences have been painful or difficult. These too have offered their gifts. I accept all that has come my way with gratitude. I bless it all. I find the gifts and release what no longer serves my growth. Assured that God is my dependable source, I release any pain of a financial setback. In the joy of restored health, I release any memory of illness. Grateful for all the modes of connection. I release any pain of loneliness. I move forward feeling lighter, cleansed, and renewed for my journey forward. Do not remember the former things or consider the things of old. Isaiah 43:18.
Thank you. And our affirming prayer. So we'll offer this prayer, and then I would like to have you offer your prayers one at a time and allow us to hold that prayer in this crucible of unconditional love that we are. So acknowledging that this space that we're in is a sacred space, this time, this place appointed for us in this moment to be in communion with God. And in that awareness, we know that God is a love that has no end and a power that knows no bounds. God's healing power of divine life is restoring, healing, and revitalizing our world in this very moment. We let go of any fears or anxieties, and we affirm that all are safe, healthy, and protected. We bless all of those who support us in maintaining vibrant, radiant health. We express divine life in all we think, say, and do. And we bless our global family with radiant health, peace of mind, and abundant love. And so I ask you in this time to share your individual prayers, and we will hold them and you in that divine crucible of love.
I believe I mentioned in one of our weeknight gatherings, but not at the service, that my brother-in-law's sister, Sister Jean Marie, did pass. I think it was about 10 days ago. She had a catastrophic fall in the bathtub and was not found for 3 days. And she just was not able to recover from that. And so I ask prayers for her, the family, all involved.
3 days. It doesn't matter. 3 days.
For Sister Jean Marie and her family. And so it is.
Prayers for our old friend and my former bandmate, Don Grove. And I say this now particularly since his birthday is coming up this Thursday on the 31st. I hope Don's doing okay and a great beyond. He's been gone about 9 months now. We all miss him. Miss seeing him, talking with him, playing music with him, and that great smile. So prayers for Don. I hope he's doing all right in the great beyond, and prayers for his family on this a few days before what would have been his birthday.
And so it is.
I'd like to send a prayer for my friend Janelle. She was recently diagnosed with the COVID, and she's been pretty sick. And a couple of her friends have now gotten it as well. Her daughter is a nurse, which has been very helpful. So they're trying to keep her out of the hospital if they can. So I'd like some good prayers for my good friend Janelle.
And so it is.
I'd like to offer prayers for peace, comfort, and receipt of whatever is necessary for all the people in our country who are suffering financially, physically, emotionally from everything that this pandemic has brought and everything that's just hanging in limbo.
And so it is.
I would like to give thanks for, it's on, Dick. I would like to give thanks for the wonderful resilience that we have all shown during this long 9 months of COVID, and just the fact that we've learned a lot about ourselves and in that time that we have away, and being thankful for friends that do keep in touch, because that means so much.
And so it is.
I have a prayer request for another COVID victim. His name is Jimmy, and he's my best friend's husband. He's hospitalized now in Maryland. Thankfully, it was addressed fairly early. His daughter is an ER physician. She actually speaks on CNN quite frequently. So I know he's in great hands, and he's a strong man. And I just pray for his rapid recovery without residual effects.
And so it is. For all the frontline workers, healthcare, distribution, retail, all of those that are charged with helping us be safe, be fed, be taken care of in the various means that we need. And so it is. Are there any other prayer requests? For all of those prayers unstated, for all of those that are in pain, challenged by the circumstances of their day, behold them all in the light, seeing them lifted and transformed by the presence of the love of God. And for this, together we say, Amen. Well, Doug, you have some music for us this morning?
Yeah, I'm going to play the old COVID-19 classic entitled I've Grown Accustomed to My Space. No laughs, didn't get no one. Okay.
You had a laugh. We were just muted.
Yeah, that's right.
It could also be I've grown accustomed to my face, but I have not, so I'll stick with space. Here we
Well,
go.
could we have the original title of that tune?
I've grown accustomed to her face.
Oh, okay. All right.
From My Fair Lady.
beautiful, beautiful.
As always, thank you, Doug. So, if I release it, will it go boom? There's a what's attributed to be an ancient Chinese curse, the may you live in interesting times. 2020 has certainly been interesting times. Dave Barry has an article in today's Washington Post. I haven't read it. I just read the headlines, and he says, well, one thing we can say good about 2020 is that no one has been killed by murder hornets that we know of. Well, uh, yeah. We look back on 2020 and I don't know, it may be one of those years where you say, wow, what a fantastic year it was. How much I've learned. Yeah, good. All right. That's a great perspective. But by the way, just to set the record straight, that is not an ancient Chinese curse. I use it, I was very disappointed to find out that wasn't the case. It turns out that Austin Chamberlain, the brother of Neville Chamberlain, the infamous Prime Minister of England during the late 30s, it was Austin Chamberlain that first voiced that phrase, that it's an ancient Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. Okay, so I've set the record straight. You guys can go forward now into 2021 with a greater confidence in the foundation of your knowledge. All right, so 2020 is a year that, as Sandy had pointed out, has been an opportunity for many lessons. Opportunity for us to know ourselves better, an opportunity for us to have challenges that in some cases we've met, in other cases we haven't met. But one thing is for certain, it is baked into our collective experience. We can all talk about 2020 from a perspective that it has been challenging. And perhaps we can give ourselves a little bit of forgiveness for those things that didn't work out as we had planned, to which we've reacted negatively. But the failures that we have experienced points to personal shortcomings, which we can release. And that's what this is about, the releasing of that which no longer serves us. I can personally attest that 2020 has provided me with plenty of opportunities to rise up to which I did not. Failures, if you will, but they were my responses to the circumstances in the moment. And I'm not sure that 2020 has actually offered us more opportunities for that. It's just that in my own case, I've been noticing those failures more. And so when we have those, quote, failures, they often weigh heavily on our conscience. We have a self-assessment of, oh, I am impatient, or I am inconsiderate, or I am whatever that negative assessment is. And one of the things that we learn in Unity is that there is a phrase of our divine name, and the divine name that was quoted in the Old Testament is also applicable to us. And that's the I am. The I am is our divine name. And any attribute that we associate with the I am becomes our own personal assessment of who we are. So I am impatient is a denigration of the divinity of who we are. And as we walk this path, one of the great mysteries that has been addressed by philosophers of the ages is this question of who am I? What is my purpose? And in Unity, we teach that, well, one of those purposes that we have is to learn the truth of who we are. The truth of who we are is that we are divine beings. We are not the scum of the earth. We're not the negative impressions that we hold of ourselves, but rather we are divine beings in this human experience. So one of the lessons that we can draw from 2020 is that when we have made those negative self-assessments, when we have emblazoned or when we have tainted our divine name with those negative self-assessments, it detracts from our remembering who we really are, that we are children of the Most High, that we are the divine in this moment, that we are the expressions of God in this moment. Even when we fail to fulfill that high calling that we have, we are nonetheless the messengers. What we teach, what we convey in the messages, often requires some reassessment, some correction. But that's part and parcel of what this is about, is we try something, it doesn't work, we try something else. We do it one way, it doesn't work, we try to do it another way. We have a response that doesn't fit who we are, it doesn't fit our job description, it doesn't fit that reality of our essence as divine beings. We try it a different way. And the important thing is that we don't hang on to the negative, but we turn our attention to the positive. We don't hang on to the negative assessment, but rather we turn our attention to that which will improve that failed response. So as we go through our lives, chipping away those things that are no longer who we are or never were who we are, never were who we were, we're really sculpting our lives. We're like the stone sculpture that, as Michelangelo is reputed to have said upon the complimenting of the statue of David, he was asked, "Well, how is it that? How can you come up with that?" And he said, "Well, you just chip away that which is not David." So as we go through our lives, our practice is to not only remember who we are, but also to chip away those aspects of ourselves that no longer serve us. I'd like to share with you the 5 principles of unity. That the five principles are that there is one power and one presence, God, the good, omnipotence. And that's a premise. We can test that premise, but that's our fundamental premise that of who we are. The one Son of God, the Christ, abides in each of us. A proposition. Again, we're testing it. And the thoughts we hold in mind manifest in our experience, and it is through this principle, this process, that we test the premise and we test the proposition. And the tools of transformation of consciousness are prayer and meditation, and we practice that often. Denials and affirmations, and those are aspects of, those are tools that we don't often pay attention to, particularly denials. We will jump into the affirmative space, into the affirmative practice, but we often scooch by the denials. And for the last item, we change our lives by applying these principles. Now, so let's talk about this idea that we have the ability to affirm, but it requires, and this is the important point, it requires that denial. And it is a denial that is about extracting the power that we have given, in this case, those negative self-assessments. We say, I am impatient. What does that tell us? I am impatient. That tells us that we are excused for any impatience that we might exhibit in the future because, well, that's who we are. I'm impatient. I am inconsiderate. That excuses any inconsideration that we demonstrate in the future because we have asserted that that's who I am. I am inconsiderate. Now, you may argue with that. You may say, well, no, that's not really what happens when I say I am inconsiderate. I'm just pointing out that in this instance, I was inconsiderate. Well, I was inconsiderate could be a very accurate statement, but it does not taint the I am of who I am right now in this holy moment. I may have been inconsiderate a month ago. I may have been inconsiderate a minute ago, but I am in this point in time, I am the holy being in this holy instant. I am, and that could be just the totality of our statement. That could be our sole declaration of I am. And that is true in this holy moment, in this sacred space. I am is absolutely true. And when we put a negative assessment on that, that's the detraction, that's the tainting, that's the defiling of our holy name. But denials are about removing the power that we have given to those assessments, those negative assessments. So the denial is about, it's about extracting the untruth. It's about taking away the power of those things that we have declared to be true, even if it is a temporary truth that we are expressing. So a denial might be, my actions that led me to be inconsiderate a minute ago is not who I am and is not who I will be in the future. Taking away that assessment, that negative assessment, gives us a freedom. It opens up the opportunities for us. And we may say, well, I understand that, but I forget. I have this habit of being negative about myself. Well, my suggestion to you is don't do it. I'm reminded in an old what was the fellow's name? It is a comedy that a comedian that had a show. Bob Newhart. Bob Newhart was an acting as a psychologist, and he had this extraordinary session fee of $5. And someone would come into him and say, I've got this problem. And he would respond with, well, don't do that. And the respondent would say, well, how can I not do that? He says, just don't do that. And so that was his therapy, was don't do it. Well, that could be a very valid therapy for all of us as we encounter these negative situations or these situations to which we respond negatively, to which we respond not in the context of our holiness, but respond in the context of our ego. We could say, well, don't do that. I'll share with you a passage that you've heard of before, but let's take a look at it. Our master teacher Jesus offered this, is quoted to be have said in Matthew. He said, "Again, you have heard that it was said in those of ancient times, you shall not swear falsely, but carry out the vows you have made to the Lord. But I say to you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let your word be either yes, yes, or no, no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. And I'll point out that the evil one is not who we typically think of as the devil, as some demonic creature that is apart and separate from us, perhaps buried 4,000 miles in the core of the earth, but rather the evil one is that aspect of our consciousness which declares that we are separate and apart from each other and from God. We call it the ego. And it is the ego that gives us those negative assessments. It's the ego that leads us down this path of, I am not worthy. What does that do for the ego? That ensures that we as individuals do not come into the realization that we are connected, that we are all one. That negative assessment leads us to the I am not worthy conclusion, and that I am not worthy is a device of separation. It is in that device of separation that we experience the ego throwing fear into the mix, which further divides us, further separates us, further takes us away from this realization that we are one. So the denial is about the extraction of power that we have given to those negative assessments. And that extraction of power is really what the release is about. So when we want to release something, typically that's a negative aspect of self, of the lowercase self, of the ego self. We try to extract that, we try to resolve that we're not going to do that anymore. Well, let's instead resolve that we don't give that any power, that we open ourselves to the glory of who we really are, that we open ourselves to that realization that we are the children of the Most High. We are divine beings in this human experience. We are the messengers of God in this very moment. And the love that we convey is the message that God wants for all of us. Oh man, I just made that. I apologize. I will retract that. It's not that God wants anything. God doesn't want anything. That sounds to me like that evangelical teacher, that the preacher that holds up a Bible and says, God wants you to do this. That's not true. God is. There is nothing that God needs other than our willingness to allow that love of God to flow into the moment. So that's my assessment. So when we are striving to become better, which our resolution process is intended to convey, that tradition is handed down from many eons. But when we are resolving to be better, then it is about releasing the power that we have given to those aspects of self that we have declared to be part of the I am. It's not. It's not true. It's not part of who we are. Who we are, divine being, present moment, expressing unconditional love of God. That is who we truly are. And when we forget to do that, well, remember, we're in the human experience. And so that is an opportunity for us to learn the reality of who we are. So that denial process is one that is important for us to set the stage for the resolving to be the best that we can be, to resolving to sculpt our lives into that divine image of who we really are. So, yeah, let's leave it there. I'd like you to take a few minutes with me and let's have some music. Doug, I've got your meditation music here. So as we settle into this time and into this space, into this presence, this is a sacred moment. As we settle into this realization breathing in and breathing out, allowing ourselves to relax, alertly relax in this moment. Let us call forth some negative assessment that we have made of ourselves an hour ago, a day ago, a week ago. Makes no difference. Bring that negative assessment forward and let's treat that. Let's take away the power of that negative assessment. As you might label that action or that reaction that you have given, go ahead and acknowledge that label. Yes, you referred to your I am in a negative way, whatever that was. And now declare that that negative assessment is not who you are. Declare that the power that you have given that negative assessment is a power given by choice. And you retract that choice. You no longer give that statement power. You open yourselves up to that divine presence, to that divine acknowledgement, and to that realization that there is no separation between you and the divine by declaring, I am. In the eyes of God, I am fully formed. In the eyes of the divine, I am perfect and whole. In my human experience, I may not remember that. In my human experience, I may tend to detract from that. But the reality of who I am is divine. So settle in on that declaration, I am divine. As we do that, our denial is disempowered. Our denial is disempowering those negative assessments. The denial is that negative statement does not describe me. I am divine. I am divine. If extraneous thoughts move through our consciousness, let's refresh our awareness. I am divine. I am divine. Feel the lifting of the burden of that negative self-assessment with your declaration that I am divine. I am divine. And as we come back into this time and space, let us bring with us the truth of who we are. Let us remind ourselves often that I am divine. Yes, I am. I am divine. And I'd like to share with you our offering blessing. There is a page online. If you choose to go there, you can go to tinyurl.com/LWU donate. That will take you to a page that will allow you to enter your payment source and offer a contribution to us. You can set that up on an ongoing basis if you want to, or you can just make one-time contributions. So, together please. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love because I trust in God. And I'd like to share with you some music from Karen Drucker.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am stronger every moment, every every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day, and I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
How are you doing?
That was great.
That was beautiful.
Karen Drucker is yeah, she's good.
The
So,
pictures were wonderful too.
Doug, if you would, let there be peace, and let me come back. And our prayer of protection together, please. The light of God surrounds us. The love of
The
God
love of God
enfolds us.
enfolds us.
The power
The
of God
power of God
protects us.
protects us.
And the
And
presence
the
of
presence
God
of God
watches over us.
watches over us.
Wherever we are,
Wherever we are,
God is,
God
and
is.
all
All
is
is
well.
well.
And, okay, if you would please.
As we prepare to release our circle and extinguish this flame, we honor the divine light it represents, and we carry that light within us into the world to protect us, to illuminate us, and to guide our actions.
Thank you. And remember to check your chat box to see if there are any messages that have been sent to you, either personally or in general. And
I've
so
got
it
a question.
is.
I have a question.
Yes.